Missing a lot of work lately.
I wouldn't say I've been missing it, Bob.
What would you say you do here?
God damn it. Bob, we love playing here tonight. My brother's ready.
It helps if you think of it as a game, Bob. Every game has a winner and a loser.
You must possess strength to inflict pain, Bob.
Yo, the Two Bobs are live once again. Episode 74 of the Two Bobs cast starts right about now. We are here once again, Rock and Metal Podcast. This will be our last episode of season 2. Probably.
Yes,
I believe
true.
So, which is
Yes.
a landmark
We are
for
on
us.
Z, and we are not doing a Z band.
We are not. We're being zany and overzealous.
Ooh, good ones, both. Yes. We decided to skip Zebra for now.
Yeah.
There's a chance we could do Zombie, Rob Zombie, White Zombie in the future, but not this time.
Not this time. We actually kind of ran into it where we were like, well, we don't have a whole lot of time. Let's pick a band with a few albums. And then we were like, well, that's too few albums. But we'll get to that in just a second.
Few albums.
Just a second.
Awesome.
First, I want to know how you are, Mr. H. How are you, bud?
I'm good. It's been busy. It's been crazy. We got started a couple days late last week and on this week. So here we are. But all is well as of now. So,
All right.
How are you doing?
I'm well. We're just talking about this weather and all that stuff. And my wife got
craziness. And
my wife got caught in Washington for the second time. Just
state, not DC.
correct. Yeah. I wish it was DC. She probably would have just drove home. But of course, cancellation. Of course, it's Delta. I don't know what it is with Delta lately. I feel like they have all the problems. Delta, you suck as of But I feel like they're the ones that have all these different flights and that we go to. I mean, I'm sure they have hubs in different places, but like Atlanta and Washington where she goes, and I think Charlotte. I feel like all these Delta hubs are just kind of the place where you always go. And of course, a mechanical issue, every issue you could think of. So she got caught in there, and she had to take a red eye, so I actually couldn't pick her up till the next day in the morning. And of course, you don't sleep all night. You don't sleep well. So, it kind of ruins her for a couple days anyway, because she's coming from the West Coast. So it's just completely sucks. But otherwise, everything's pretty good. Got the family in town now for the summer. Just waiting for the weather to kind of settle down here and not be so muggy. At least we could go out and do something. So,
yeah, for sure.
But otherwise, other than that, pretty good. Tomorrow night we got a show. We can talk about that and probably next week.
Yes.
We are going to see Coheed and Cambria, which we just did this time through the alphabet at letter C. So Mr. H has seen them before, but he definitely was saying he likes them more.
Yeah, long ago in Galaxy Far, Far Away. I was not into them. I was not impressed. I've seen them a couple of times open for different bands just coming through that I wanted to see. And they were okay. There's a couple songs I'd liked, but, for the most part, I was like, I couldn't take his voice. And I'm like, I don't know why people are into these guys so much. People were into them huge, and I just I just didn't get it. But, I do like their more recent stuff, and listening to this set list, I am really happy with this set list. I mean, even Kelly likes it. Like, we were listening to it yesterday. Like, it's really good. I mean, it's too bad that one of the bands that's opening for them is total garbage. Just think, if you're going to listen to Keonashi, I guess. Just think Miss Piggy, and you'll just laugh your ass off.
Yeah, that's funny.
It's bad, dude. It's really really bad.
Yeah.
So, but they're openers, and they can't all be great. So the other one, Arm's Length, right? Yeah, they're like a pop punk band, which isn't my thing, but it sounds like they're pretty good at what they do. Funny thing is, they just headlined here on May 23rd, which was 17 days ago. Headlined here at the House of Blues, same size place they're playing opening for Coheed and Cambria, which is the Agora. They both hold about the same size, same amount of people.
I thought it was like a Cleveland band or something, but it's not. That makes it even worse. Like they're California or something.
Yep. They did a whole headlining tour, and they were just here. I'm like, that is such a weird quirk of scheduling. But anyway, so yeah, they're coming with them too. Again, not my thing, but I'll probably just leave a little late, make sure I catch it. But anyway, yeah, looking forward to it. Way more than I thought I ever would. Honestly, I got this one on the that Axis all-in thing for $30, no taxes, no fees. And I'm like, what the heck? You keep telling me, and our buddy Hendo, both of you guys swear how great they are live. And, obviously Claudio Sanchez is quite an artist. So I imagine, staging, backdrops, that kind of stuff is going to look really cool too. So I'm like, what, for $30, why not?
Yeah.
I mean,
something to do.
And the Agora, you don't have to pay to park. You can park on the street. I'm like, it's, why not? It's like 14 minutes from my driveway. I'm like, well, why am I not going? So, even if it's just okay, it's worth probably $30. So but it'll be fun. I'm really looking forward to it way more than I thought I would. So,
yep, absolutely. They actually played a lot of the, because I just seen them a couple weeks ago. Yeah. But it was a festival lineup. They played 45 minutes, so half of probably what they'll play when we see them.
Yeah, it seems like about an hour and a half on these shows.
Yep. So again, every song they played probably at the festival they'll play, but they're obviously playing a lot more. So I'm looking forward to it. I love the sound of the Agora. I like just everything about the Agora. It's probably
and you really
my
like
favorite
them.
place.
You've been a fan of them for a long time.
I'm a huge fan. Yeah, like I've grown with them. I got into them like their third album. So, but yeah, I agree. The new stuff it's different and it's good. It's really good. And again, definitely if you're watching this, check back on our podcast, Coheed and Cambria. It's one of those instances, and I'm sure we'll run into it with both of us, where one of us really was into it, the other one wasn't, but then that person got a new appreciation for them. So
for sure that happened to me.
Yep. So very cool. But
awesome.
today on
the combo platter.
Podcast, we got the combo platter. So as I alluded to earlier, we were trying to find some bands that we could, or a band that we could get into that had a few albums, and we were like, well, Rage needs to be done. Rage Against the Machine, but of course Rage Against the Machine only has 3 original albums, right? I mean, they do have Renegades, but obviously those are all cover songs. They did
generally
do them.
Don't do those.
Yeah, we definitely don't
do the original stuff. It's hard to, I will talk about it, but we're not going to rank it. But it's hard to do those because it's other people's songs they're doing. You can't really critique them, and they didn't create the songs, So you can only go by the version they did. You can't really, talk about the song because they didn't write it. So
exactly right.
But we thought about adding it just to have 4 albums to do, and then we came up with a better idea.
Yeah, we thought, you know what? 3 members of Rage ended up starting a new band. Obviously, Audioslave with the late, great Chris Cornell. We're like, they got 3 albums too. Let's make it a 6-album listening party. And we are going to rate the Rage albums separately, of course, from the Audioslave, and we'll talk about it. To me, that's one of the most intriguing things about this is the same 3 guys, right? Just the different singer for both bands. The bands couldn't sound any more different overall. Like you could see, obviously, specifically Morello, right? He's got his own style, but we'll get into that. But it's incredible to me. Yeah, it's incredible to me. So. But we will get into it,
and how it came about, and all that too. So
yep. So we will. I guess we're going to start with Rage then, since they came first.
Yes.
All right, Mr. H, what do you got about Rage Against the Machine?
Against the Machine, like a comet that lasted for 8 years in the 90s. This band was formed in 1991 in Los Angeles, California, and broke up in 1999. So they basically lasted the 90s. released all 3 original albums in that time. Consisted of Zach De La Rocha on vocals, Tom Morello on guitar, Tim Comerford on bass and backing vocals, which is important, and Brad Wilk on drums. This band kind of combining rap and punk and metal and funk with anti-authority and revolutionary and anti-capitalist lyrics, really just kind of took off and struck a chord with the whole rock and metal crowd in 1992, and sold over 16 million albums on only 3 original releases and a cover. Like, that's insanity. And got inducted in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame with 3 albums. It's amazing.
Insane.
Huge influence on nu metal that came a few years later. I mean, there's no bigger influence on nu metal than these guys. And the rap metal that came later and other stuff, like these guys, what Tom Morello does on guitar, you can draw a direct line from there to like Korn, and like the crazy stuff that they do with their guitars, sounds that they make, and put in their songs. Like, you can draw a straight line from them to Limp Bizkit, and it's incredible. But what a ride it was with these guys. If you were a fan, I know people that absolutely hate them. My buddy Rob can't stand them. He can't even really tell me why. He thinks it's the politics, which
Probably.
I'll talk a little bit about that too here, but yeah, just a lot of fun for me to listen to. I really enjoyed all 3 of these albums. So, all right, so they formed in 91, and they basically recorded a demo, and just about every song on the demo made it on the first album, which was called self-titled Rage Against the Machine, which the title came from a track that Zach De La Rocha wrote for his previous band, I believe called Inside Out. And they never recorded an album, but it was a track that he wrote and was going to be, I think, the name of that album too, that never got recorded. And they just named the band that. So this was produced by Garth and the band. In my opinion, this is one of the best sounding debuts of all time. Like, I absolutely love the way this was recorded. It was done in kind of like a simplistic way, but it has a really like full, rich sound to it. But like, there's no extra guitar tracks in there. Like, when Tom is soloing, you hear Tim Comerford just going to town on bass. Like, it sounds so incredibly good. Like, they could not have made this album sound any better, in my opinion. It sounds absolutely amazing. And holy shit, did this album blow me away like few have in my lifetime. I remember I was at a friend's party, right? So I had heard, Killing in the Name, I think they released Bomb Track first, but I had heard Killing in the Name, and I was like, wow, that's really good. But I didn't have the rest of the album, and I also wasn't sure, like, is this something I'm really going to like? Like, I'm not really sure. So I went to this party at a friend's house. It was actually my girlfriend's friend, who I knew too. And it's a guy, shout out to Joe if he's around. I know he's not listening to this, but he also, him and his dad ran a barbershop downtown, and I used to go get my hair cut from him all the time. Just super great dude. But he lived in Strongsville, and he had a party at his dad's house. And they had a nice little lake in the backyard, and he had his Eagle Talon parked out by the lake, and they had a big bonfire a little further back. So there's all these people over there. A lot of people I didn't know, because this was a friend of my girlfriend, and I knew him, but I didn't really know some of the other friends. But he had his Eagle Talon parked back there, and he had a really, really good system in it, right? So he's like, man, sit in here and check this out, So I was listening, and I'm like, oh, you got Rage Against the Machine? He goes, yeah, you got to listen to this. So he put it on, and I sat in the car. I'm not kidding you. I sat in the car, and I listened to the album like 3 straight times in his car. I still couldn't believe, how good it sounded and how much I liked it. Like, I still can't believe it. Needless to say, I didn't meet many people at that party, because I sat in the car like by myself with the doors open too. But I sat in there. I think he even said at one point, like the next day, I went up and got a few drinks too, and just kept going back to the car, because I'm like, I gotta listen to more of this. And he told me the next day, he's like, yeah, a couple people asked me, he's like, who's that dude sitting in your car listening to music over there by himself? So I could not escape this album. I could not break myself away from that car. Every time I'd go get a drink, I wanted to pause it because I loved it so much. I couldn't believe it. But this is also one of the best bass guitar albums of all time, in my opinion. The bass is so prominent. It's so good. There's so many songs where it just starts out. Like I said, you can clearly hear every note he plays. When Tom's doing solo, you can hear all the bass notes. It sounds so amazingly good. And it was so well written. Again, though, the guitar riffs, same thing. They were so good. The groove itself was so good. I mean, I don't want to leave Brad Wilk out. I mean, it's pretty simple stuff he was playing, but him and Tim Comerford together sounded amazing too. And just the stuff that Tom was doing with guitar, just these incredible solos that no one had ever heard before. He was doing things nobody had ever heard. He was doing like Eddie Van Halen-esque stuff, like. And Eddie Van Halen in 77, he's playing with his back to the crowd so people couldn't see what he was doing, so people wouldn't copy him because nobody else was doing. People were like, how is he doing this? And it's the same thing with Tom Morello. Like, he was doing things with his guitar nobody had ever done. And we're like, what? What is this? So it just gives it such a real feel along with the bass and without the extra backing tracks. Like, it just sounds so good. This is also, I did want to talk about the political lyrics. This is my go-to example of how little lyrics in general mean to me. So I always say that, people are like, yeah, this song, there are some now that make me cringe. We talked about it with Motley Crue, just a couple months ago. There's songs like on Girls, Girls, Girls where, we're talking about 15-year-old girls and having sex with them. And like, it's just not, it's hard to even listen to now. Right. And this is all like political. So this is all just opinion. This isn't a story about, something like that, or, taking your significant other and tying them down and killing them because you don't want them to leave you. Like, that's the Motley Crue stuff that was on Girls, Girls, Girls. And it's just, it's just, you can't even listen to it. It's just too over the line, but this is just political ranting. Right. And I can't relate to any of the shit that Zach's anger is bringing out, or, but his vocal delivery and his anger just fits so well with the other instruments that I just loved it, and it didn't matter to me what the lyrical content was and what he's talking to me about, because I can't relate to any of it. So anyway, this is my go-to example of that, and I use it all the time. So, it's also in a weird way, not that I do this really. I mean, maybe sometimes, but this is metal music you can actually dance to. Like, it has so much funk and so much groove to it that you can actually dance to this. Like, it's crazy. My favorite tracks on this album are Bomb Track, Bullet in the Head. I'm going to leave Killing in the Name off. Again, it's a great song, but it's the one song everybody, Octane, everywhere plays off of, even the edited version. They play it all the time. It's the only thing you really ever hear. There's so many other great songs on here, but you only ever hear the one. So I kind of left that one off, even though I love that one at the time too. But Bomb Track, Bullet in the Head, Know Your Enemy is probably my favorite Rage song altogether. I just absolutely love that song. And Fistful of Steel, man, bass, and more bass, man. Oh, so good. But there's so many great songs. There's really nothing on here that I would skip at all. This is an A album for me. It's not A+, just for one reason. Again, Killing in the Name is a classic for sure, and a gateway to so many for this band, and a representation of what you'll get from this band. That's another cool thing about that song, is it represents everything that this band does. From the way the song is structured, the way the instruments are played, the lyrical content, like that's everything about this band right there. So, but I'm just kind of done with it. It's a great song, but Settle for Nothing for me is kind of the weakest track, kind of by far on this album. I don't hate it. It's not a bad song. It's just the weakest one out of all of these. And that's probably what really keeps this from being an A+ for me. It's really close though. I kind of waffled whether I wanted to make this an A+ album just because I listened to this so much, man. I like this album so much. But a lot of the album also does kind of sound the same. Like there's and they'll grow as songwriters a little bit, but it's just so effing good, man. Like, even though some of it sounds the same, it doesn't matter, it to me, because it's just, I like it so much. They could write, a bunch of songs that all sound almost exactly the same. I'd still listen to the whole thing. But I had this as an A. This was number one for me in the Rage, out of the Rage 3 that we're going to rank here in their catalog. So A, number one. What did you think of the self-titled Rage Against the Machine?
Now, this album came out when I was 11 years old. So I wasn't picking this one up when it first came out. I definitely was not into anything like this at that time. So I started with the next record and then came back to this one. So just kind of that's the order. I didn't listen to this when it first came out. But again, when I came back to it, though, I was blown away. To me, it's so unique. And at the time, just being so young, I was so open to all these new things. This is probably the first band I ever listened to that was pretty metal. That was different at the time. So again, for my age, when Rage Against the Machine came out, it blew my mind. It was again, and it was like nothing anybody had heard before, but especially my mind, it was like, what is this? And it was a perfect transition for me, because when I was a younger kid, like, I grew up listening to like Jammin' 92.3. If you're from the Cleveland area, you remember these type of things, right? These type of radio stations. What's up, Swag Dubs? He says he doesn't like overtly political lyrics, but Rage and Green Day.
Yeah, me too. Absolutely. I like Green Day too, so it's same.
Yep. So, but as a early teen, I was listening to what was on the radio, and there was a lot of pop, and there's a lot of rap too. Like, I really liked a lot of those early '90s rap bands, like Dre and Tupac and Snoop and all those type of things. So to me, that was the risky stuff that I was trying to sneak and listen to. That my parents would have killed me if I was listening to it. But then, a band like Rage comes along, and it's that kind of rap, but guitars under it. I'm like, what is this? Right. So again, this isn't the first I've heard of Rage, but I came back immediately. As soon as I heard these guys, I came back to this album right away. I bought it as soon as I could, and just nonstop listened to it. I love these first two albums specifically so much. It was so, I guess, impressionable to me. And, these guys get a lot of credit to leading me to bands like Metallica and Megadeth, and think just, again, the metal guitars. It was, it's all different, but something has to take you there, right? It's, you're not going to stumble across the really heavy stuff until you find something like this, I feel like. I liked all the classic rock, but this was kind of my first, I guess, modern rock band that I was really into. So yeah, really, really good stuff. Still blown away how well this holds up. It sounds fantastic. Zach is great in this. I really appreciate his timing, and I mean, he sounded just like all the other rappers out there. It's just, again, it was over top different rock metal beats instead of beats, which I was super impressed by. Good stuff. The track, almost every track on it is really good. You mentioned Bomb Track, Killing in the Name. I actually have never really been a huge fan of that song. I like the riffs in it a lot, but it's a lot of repetitiveness in it. There's not a whole lot of different stuff going on, but I understand how people think it's cool, and it kind of led them here. It makes sense. Bullet in the Head, Know Your Enemy, like you said, is great. Obviously featuring Maynard from Tool. Pretty cool because it's early on in all of their careers, and if any of them knew how huge any of them were going to get. Wake Up is great. I think Wake Up, that's the song that was at the end of the Matrix movie, which I'll always remember.
Yes, it was.
When Neo's in the phone booth and then he flies away, it's to Wake Up, I think. So just these riffs, I think, are just legendary. Tom Morello, I don't know that he gets enough credit as like an innovator of different types of riffs, right? Well, he plays great riffs, like they're really, really good. But what he does with like the the scraping and the scratching and the bending of his guitar strings. I think even on the record, I think it says no synthesizers or whatever was used in this recording, because I mean, he was kind of like an artist with the guitar. Like he would sit and bend it and squeal it and hit different parts of the guitar, the back of it and the side of it and the headstock, and trying to get all these crazy sounds. So a lot of their guitar solos are just a lot of his experimenting with different sounds, and the like, it's really, really cool. Like his guitar solos are not like a guitar solo that you would typically hear, you know, like a Metallica guitar solo or something. It's totally different, and it's original, and I totally respect it. It's super cool.
Yeah.
Fistful of Steel, Township Rebellion, Freedom is so good as a closer. I love this album so much. You know, I still come back to it once in a while. To me, it can't be my number one, because the next one is easily my number one. But you know, again, I think it really, we say this all the time. I think it's what was impressionable to you. What was the first moment you sat and listened to it and it blew your mind? You know, to me, it was not Killing in the Name. It was Bulls on Parade. So just with my age, and I went back to this one, nothing could ever live up to the next one for me. So easy number 2. It's still an A album. It's probably an A to an A- for me. You mentioned it before. I think this one sounds a lot the same, where there's times that I'll sit back, and if I don't have the track listing ahead of, like, looking at it, I'll mix songs up all the time, because I feel like a lot of this is almost just one continuous album, and a lot of the riffs are very similar. All, you know, again, all great songs, but this is just kind of their first one. Sounds great, but they become better songwriters, I think, in the next album. So self-titled Rage, again, it's an A- for me, but number 2.
All right. Yeah, Zach even has a lyric later on in the album that is just another bomb track. So, I mean, he's actually alluding to the original bomb track earlier on the same album.
Yep.
So on to your number 1 here, Evil Empire, April 16th, 1996. I don't even think I mentioned November 6th, 1992 was the original 10 songs. I don't think I mentioned that. But this one is 3.5 years later, man. That's a long time. 11 songs on this one. This is produced by Brendan O'Brien. I want to tell a quick little Brendan O'Brien story, since we'll have some time on this one. I just heard this the other day too. This blew my mind. I couldn't believe it. So there's this band in 1989 that was recording their debut album, which would end up blowing up, and you'll know who it is when I get there. But they were doing a cover song, and they were supposed to have Slash from Guns N' Roses come and record the solo for the cover song they were doing. And they waited, and they're sitting there in the studio. Time is ticking. This was this band's first album, right? So they're like, man, we got to go. Like, we don't have a budget to be sitting here all day, you know? They called Slash and no answer. They couldn't find Slash anywhere. Slash never showed up. So they had this guy that was like an assistant to the producer, this sound engineer guy, Brendan O'Brien, sitting there. And he had a little bit of a reputation for being a really good guitar player. So he sits in, and they're like, hey, man, you want to take a stab at doing the solo on this song? So he comes in there, and he does the solo to Hard to Handle by the Black Crowes. And it's one of the iconic solos of like the 80s. Like, if you've heard that solo once, you've heard it a million times. As soon as you hear it, you'll be like, oh, yeah, I know this one. That was Brendan O'Brien. That's crazy.
That's crazy.
Like, I never knew that until 2 days ago. And I'm like, no way. I'm like, I got to bring that up. So Evil Empire is produced by that same guy, Brendan O'Brien, who obviously he went and produced a million things. We've talked about him over and over again on a lot of these podcasts. So just a prolific producer as well. So 11 songs on this one. This album, although as far as the production goes, this album still sounds great to me, but it doesn't have the same thickness and deeper bass as the debut did. So I listened to it in the same headphones. Like I never really put that together because these albums came, out so far apart, and I pretty much wore out the self-titled album by the time I listened to this one. I wasn't listening to them back to back like I did this week, and I was like, man, I didn't realize the production was thinner. Like, there's a lot more high end. You could hear a lot more cymbals. There's a lot more high end stuff, but like the thickness and the bass isn't as prominent, which I like it more on the other album. But it's not that this album sounds bad. It still sounds great. It's really clear. It's just I prefer the thickness of the Garth one earlier. But I do remember, though, now I'm going to disappoint you a little bit. I remember I was a bit disappointed in this one when it came out, comparing it to the debut. I waited forever for this album to come out, what seemed like forever. I'm like, when's the Rage albums coming out? Like, there's not really any internet until like this album came out. So I'm reading in magazines. I'm trying to talk to friends who read magazines. Have you heard anything about the Rage? Like, I'm just looking for Rage Against the Machine, and I can't find Rage Against the Machine. And I go, why is this album taking so long? So I just remember when it came out, I was a bit disappointed. It's a good album in its own right, for sure. I still kind of feel the same way about it, that it's kind of several levels below the debut for me. Everything is very similar to the debut in that it's all like it's all innovative, and like there's even more stuff on here than there was on the first one. Like you mentioned that those songs do kind of sound the same. There's even more experimentation, more kind of Tom Morello doing different stuff with his guitar on here. And you're like, wow, like it's really cool. Like some of the stuff that he did. The songs to me just don't have the same like memorability. Like they just don't stick with me like the first album. Although it does have some huge highlights for sure, but it's just real top heavy for me, this one. But I totally get why, if you started with this one, it totally makes sense. It's not that far below the first one. It's just, for me, it's not quite as good. It's real top heavy. This one is for me. Like, I love People of the Sun. I love Bulls on Parade. I love Vietnam. I love Revolver. Like, and that's the first 4 tracks, right? So those are my favorite songs on here. And then like when we get to like Without a Face and Wind Below, like I'm not as big a fan of those songs, especially like Wind Below. Like it's like almost 6 minutes, and I find myself wanting to skip it because it ends up, to me, it feels like the first half is amazing and the second half feels a lot like kind of a recorded jam session without much in the way of hooks or like the first one, like I can't get those songs out of my head. Whatever song I left off on, that's the one that's stuck in my head for days. That doesn't happen with the second half of this album for me. So I still have this as a B or B minus. It's not that I don't like it. It's just, it's way, way top heavy for me. But I was guessing this was going to be your number one album, and I didn't write purposely a lot about this album because I figured you'd have a lot to say about this one. Then I'm glad I was right. So that's all I have. I have this number 3 out of the 3 for me as a B minus. What did you think, as if we didn't know, of Evil Empire?
Yeah. See, the funny thing is, I feel like we're talking about 3 albums here, and I feel like the order that you're introduced to them in, it all matters, because everything that you said, you could copy and paste for me for the next album.
Nice.
For Battle of Los Angeles. It's basically the same type of thing. But this album, again, this is the first time I ever heard this band. So first thing I heard was Bulls on Parade. The riff of that completely blew me away.
It did everybody.
It's so heavy, it's so good. And then again, you throw the rap in there too. It felt like my world changed. I mean, it truly did. I mean, again, it opened up, knowing what I know now, it merged early me with liking rap and being that type of person to, just being impressionable about rap, and adding guitar in it and meshing it so well. It really came prominent to me that this was going to be amazing. Swag Dubs. There's something about it. Like you crank it up in your headphones today, and it just sounds insane.
Yeah, me too. Like I waited 3.5 years, and then that was the first song I heard. Right,
Yeah.
off of the first single they released, and just banner, and you're like, what in the world? Like it is the simplest thing, and it's so good. So
Yep.
good.
And the solo is just basically it's scratching, right? It's it's really, really cool.
So good.
But anyway, as soon as I heard that, of course, I went up to wherever, Best Buy or whatever it was, and I remember the CD. I remember taking it out of the case. It's that black and white bullseye design, just super cool. I threw it in, and it didn't leave forever. In my Walkman, my Discman at the time. So, yeah. So where I lived in Parma, I had to walk to school. It was junior high at the time when this came out, and
Uphill both ways in the snow, right?
it was. If you know about my trek from Parma across Parma, going down good old Grantwood. It was down.
Rodeo.
steep downhill and then a steep uphill. So it literally was uphill and downhill. Shiloh Junior High.
Nice.
But it was a long walk, and Parma wasn't doing well during the days and couldn't pass a levee to save their life. So their rules for busing was if you were 2 miles or above, you got a bus. If you were under 2 miles, you did not get a bus. And guess what I was at? 1.8 something miles. So
Nice.
I was in band. I played football at the time, so I had shoulder pads on one arm and a saxophone in the other. But you know what saved me on all those cold weather trips was Evil Empire.
Nice.
So I fell in love with this album because of that. I listened to it nonstop. Didn't leave. I was enthralled by it. So your feelings on the first half of the album, I feel it on the second half too. I love Tire Me, Down Rodeo is so good, man. That riff on Down Rodeo is
yeah, that's the highlight of the second
insane.
half for me for sure. It's great. It's a great song.
Yep. And I just Without a Face, Wind Below, Roll Right. I mean, I love these songs. You're the Boomerang, I think is a great closer. Probably not as good as Freedom. I think Freedom being a closer, I'll take that one. But man, I truly do love all these songs. But I love all the songs from the first record too, because after I listened to this one to death and found out that there was a first one,
Nice.
that was, to me, it was like Christmas. Like you had to wait 3.5 years.
Yeah.
I didn't have to wait at all.
Right.
Like I listened to this to death. And then I saved up my money and mowed my lawns and whatever. And then I went and got the self-titled album. And then I had another album to listen to nonstop. So to me, it worked out great. I still absolutely love this. And, I do agree the sound is different on them. I do think there's definitely a difference in the bass and in the deeper tones. But the guitar riffs come through really well in this. I feel like they put that guitar, Tom Morello's guitar specifically, higher up in the mix. It feels like I feel like that guitar punches you. Yeah. I do think that Tim Comerfield, that first record is probably more of a him type record. I think this is more of a Tom Morello record, personally. But either way, they're both masterful to me. They're both A records. I love them both very much. This is just my gateway, and I think the songs off this record that I like more. I think maybe the first one's more consistent, but this one I think has higher highs for me. So Evil Empire, easy number one for me. It's an A, not an A plus. I didn't give you any of these A pluses. This is a really good album, but it's just a solid A. First one is an A minus for me, just a step below. It's really, really close. It's supremely close. These albums both just blew me away, and I was a little disappointed with the next one. It's just kind of your reverse order, I think. But these two were great. Evil Empire number one, and an A for me.
What kept it from being an A plus? Do you have anything like specific? I just wondered.
Not really. There's not really anything specific. I just wouldn't put it up there with my basically perfect albums.
Okay. Doesn't have doesn't have the staying power like you'd have gave it
Maybe.
an A plus in 1996, 97.
I probably would have given it an A plus
Yeah.
back in my teens for sure.
Okay.
Probably one of my favorite albums for many, many years. But now I think Rage is they just kind of suffer these days from, you just haven't had anything from them in so long.
Yeah, true. Okay.
And I feel I just, there's not anything really specifically wrong with the album. Maybe just that there's been nothing since.
Yeah.
And they don't even really have songs on this that have worn out, right? Like they're like, I don't hear Bulls on Parade enough. That
me neither. Yeah,
I'm
I
sick
agree.
of it.
Totally agree. There's nothing on this album I'm tired of. Nothing.
So I can't really say a specific reason why it's not an A plus, but I'm guessing it's just because it's a '90s band, and that's just kind of where I believe they belong. If they would have done one comeback album in the 2000s, maybe then this one gets catapulted a little higher.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense. But I mean, I have it an A. Maybe some days I'd listen to it. Maybe I'll say, you know what, this is an A plus. But
that's fine. I didn't mean to put you on the spot.
No, you're good.
You're
good
because
I get it.
I kind of felt you were really going to love this one, and so and you said that you did, so I was just kind of wondering. All right, so on to Battle of Los Angeles. So another 3.5 years to November 2nd, 1999. 12 songs on this one. Again, Brendan O'Brien. So the same kind of thinner-ish, more high-end production compared to the debut. Still sounds great again. It's just Brendan just has a different style than Garth does. That's all it really comes down to. I prefer more of the highlighting of the bass and the lower end because you could still hear all the guitar riffs very clearly on the first one. But anyway, just splitting hairs, really. I mean, they both sound really good. I remember liking this one quite a bit more than Evil Empire. This one, for me, it has catchier riffs on it. I mean, more throughout, more on the deeper songs. They feel more like complete songs and less kind of like jammy, kind of Zach's just kind of droning on about, whatever with a little bit of music underneath it, which is kind of what the kind of jammier stuff on Evil Empire. And again, none of that's bad. It's just, it's different. So this one feels like it has more kind of well-rounded songs that were just more memorable to me. And I thought, like you were saying, I thought that, okay, I haven't listened to this album in a while. So I was like, I knew I really loved a bunch of these songs, but I was like, I feel like this is going to kind of drop off for me at the end. And then I found that it really kind of didn't. So I really, as I'm going through these songs, I'm like, man, yeah, I love this one too. And I love this one too, even though I didn't recognize them by names, like New Millennium Homes and Ashes in the Fall. But when I hear them, I'm like, I do like this one. It's just, I don't know, for whatever reason, these stuck with me more and better than Evil Empire did. But I do remember being surprised when this album was released because it took 3.5 years to get Evil Empire out. And I felt like, obviously, I was waiting forever for that one. So after, I was a little disappointed in that one. I kind of lost Rage off my radar because it took so long. Like if this album had come out in 97, I'd be like, or 90, early 98, I'd be like, okay, well, let me get in there and see what this one's like now. But it took so long that I was just like, I just kind of lost track of it. Plus, I'm into Limp Bizkit, I'm into the Deftones, I'm into Korn, I'm into all these bands that got influenced by this band. I'm into all these bands that are just putting out albums left and right. Like I couldn't keep up with the amount of stuff that I really liked that was coming out in the late 90s. So that Rage just kind of got lost because they didn't come out with anything. So, but this one did debut at number 1 on Billboard, just like Evil Empire did also. And this also topped a few Best Rock Album of 1999 lists also. My favorites on this one are the first 7 tracks for me are as good as it gets. Like I absolutely love all 7 of those tracks as much as I like the first 7 tracks or the first half of the self-titled album. So there is a slight drop off for me for the 5 tracks, but I do like them all in their own right also. And there's nothing that I would kind of skip here at all. Like again, I thought maybe when I got to the end, I'm like, I don't think I really like New Millennium Homes or Maria, but That's not the case, man. I liked every one of these songs, and I was like, man, where am I going to rank this one? So, but because there's kind of a drop off, which the self-titled album kind of doesn't have for me, like you said, like Freedom at the end, there's great songs all the way to the end of that one. Where this one, it does kind of slip a little bit, but just not quite as much for me as the second half of Evil Empire. So I had this one a little bit higher than Evil Empire. This is like B+, A-, just not up to the debut. So I had this one kind of in between as a number 2, just kind of, step or two below the first one, step or two above Evil Empire, but they're all really great albums that really I could just put them on and listen to all of. Like, I kind of said that maybe I'd skip Wind Below, but even once it got to that track, I'm probably not skipping it. I'm probably just going to let it play. So really, Rage doesn't have any true skippers for me, where there's not any songs that I could just say, you know what, I really don't like that one. So there's no skippers in any of Rage's catalog. So I had this as like a B+, like I said, number 2, A-, maybe, somewhere in there. What did you think of Battle of Los Angeles?
I think this encapsulates it perfectly for me with Swag Dubs here. Evil Empire was like a moment in time for me where it was like the first thing. They led me to other things. Well, when this album came out, I was into other things, right? Like I was buying a ton of albums, exactly the same as you said too, Mr. H. Like Korn is huge at this time. That's what I'm listening to. Deftones I'm listening to, Limp Bizkit. I'm even broadening. Like I'm huge into Megadeth and Metallica. Like late in my time, I'm into Nine Inch Nails. I'm getting into like all this different music.
Another big one, yeah.
Absolutely. So at this time, like of course, I'm like I'm gonna open my heart to more Rage. So when this came out, I was excited. I picked it up, and same with you with Evil Empire. Maybe it was kind of past time for me, but. It really took a lot for me to get into this album. I do really like the front half of it for the most part. I do think there's some blemishes in it for me, especially early on. Testify, Guerrilla Radio, Calm Like a Bomb are great. Mic Check, I was never really into. It just wasn't really my thing. Sleep Down the Fire, Kicks Back Up, Born of a Broken Man, great songs. Born as Ghost is great. That's really at that point it really nosedives for me. I don't think, again, I'm with you. I'm not skipping any song off the 3 albums. It's all good. It's all really, really good, solid stuff. But the 8 through 12 for me I didn't even remember them. I think kind of your point. I remember hearing them before. They sounded familiar, but to me, none of those songs really resonated with me. Kind of like what you said with the back half of Evil Empire. To me, it's like, okay, they're good songs, but I don't really remember them. Like they're not memorable to me. I listened to Maria and I was like, okay, that sounds familiar. I remember listening to that 20 years ago, but it's okay. And then just kind of went down the line. So that's just kind of where it sat for me, is really good highs for this, but not super memorable. I feel like just the timing of this coming out, maybe if it would have come out 2 years earlier and I was huge into my Rage phase, like maybe I opened my heart more to this.
Yeah.
I just think maybe it came
continuation right after.
Yeah.
Like within a year and a half, 2 years.
Right. Well, because again, I listened to Evil Empire probably for a year, and then I went back to the self-titled and listened to that probably for a year, and then I was ready.
Better with this album, I think, the first one.
I agree.
So yeah, maybe if you did them in that order and they came out a little sooner, maybe this would have been higher for you.
Yeah. So and again, it's not bad. I mean, this is a B for me, so it's not like a huge drop off. I still think the highs are great. I still like Sleep Down the Fire is probably one of my favorite Rage songs. It's really, really cool. Another solo that I always remember, Tom Morello, the crazy stuff that he does. It sounds so cool. So a lot of good highs on this, but again, there's just moments of it where I'm just like, all right, it's okay. So to me, it's number 3. It was pretty easy, number 3, but it's a B. I mean, there's nothing bad that they've done.
Yeah.
It's all good. Every song is good. I like a lot of their B-side stuff too. Like I know they put "No Shelter" on here. That was, I think, on the Godzilla soundtrack. It was great.
Yeah, that's a great
I
song.
love the Crow soundtrack. They had "Darkness" on there, man. That's one of my favorite Rage songs. I love that song too. They do a lot of. They do the Ghost of Tom Joad, the Springsteen song.
We'll get to that in a second.
Yeah, that's right. That's on the next one too. So, but I mean, give me Rage all day over Springsteen. That's an easy.
I have almost those exact words written here.
Yep, that's an easy thing. So I won't say anything else to take away from your notes on there. But I got Battle of Los Angeles #3, but a solid B. Good stuff. I just fell in love with the early ones. Unfortunately, this one came out a little too late, I think, for me. But good stuff still.
There definitely was dude, I totally agree with him. There was so much good stuff, you know.
Yeah.
I just kind of felt like it was a little bit a kind of sort of a return to the original album for me, which is why I kind of liked it so much. But there was so much going on. There was so much music flying out at this point, man. Oh God, there was just a million things. We could go on and on listing bands that just came out of nowhere. I'm like, I love this one and this one. And I found there's bands that had one album that I absolutely loved their whole album. And they had one and then they were done. So there's so many back in the late 90s. Really, really great time as far as like heavy music goes anyway. So I wanted to mention Renegades, like we just brought it up, but it was a really, really good album of covers as Rage Against the Machine's last studio album, but we don't rank these as a rule. Because the bands don't write these songs, so it's not fair to like critique them on like this is a good song or not, because they're just doing their own version of somebody else's song. So we'd actually have to really rate and review the original if we're gonna go into songwriting and that kind of stuff. So anyway, but I did want to make some comments. A few of these songs are so well done that I feel like they should have been written by Rage Against the Machine.
Yeah,
because they're so different and they sound so good. Renegades of Funk is the best example of that for me. Is like that's a song I had never even heard, and like it is so effing good, and it fits exactly with everything that this band has done. It's such a great song. How I Could Just Kill a Man is similar to the Cypress Hill version, but again, it's kind of in the same style, but it sounds like Rage Against the Machine, and it's so awesome. And Ghost of Tom Joad, you already said it. It's amazing, and it absolutely blows away the original Springsteen version. Like, it's not even the same song. It is, but it isn't.
It's the same words.
Yes, it's the same words. That's exactly right. Maggie's Farm is also outstanding. It's a Dylan, cover, and you can't really understand what Dylan's saying half the time, but you can on this one. It's an outstanding cover. I'm not a huge fan of it, but I was also really surprised to see a Devo cover of Beautiful World, or, Akron, Ohio's own Devo, on here also. Again, it just shows that this band kind of isn't afraid to tackle anything. Like they'll play anything, and they can make it, sound good no matter what. So, and then after 8 years together, that's it. And they were done and broke up 2 months before this one even came out. So, my overall rankings. Oh, I'm sorry. Did you want to say anything else about
No, I everything you said I think is great, and I probably would have put this over Battle of Los Angeles perfect, like myself.
Nice.
I
don't like that much, but
I was really into this when it came out because it was different,
really cool. And so different.
Yeah, but it excellent. Again, I just jump on the back of what you said. Just I credit them just making songs that exist sound like Rage songs, and
so good.
I just think that's super impressive to do a whole record of it. So
yes.
Great stuff.
So good. So overall, for me, number 3, Evil Empire, B minus, 2, Battle Los Angeles, kind of B+ range, and number 1, the self-titled Rage Against the Machine, I have as an A. So that's my 3. What about you?
Yeah, this is probably the very first one, and it's probably because it's only 3, but we have everyone in a different order. It's pretty cool.
Yes, we do. That's funny.
Yep, Battle of Los Angeles, number 3 and a B for me. Self-titled Rage, A- number 2, and Evil Empire for me, number 1 and an A.
I feel like we got the shell game trick going on.
I know. Yes.
In which order they got to come?
Follow the ball.
Oh man. All right. So that wraps up Rage Against the Machine. So on we will move very quickly, I might add, to
Rage Against the Garden. Oh, sorry.
Rage Against the Garden. That's pretty good. I don't think I've ever heard that one before. That's pretty good. Yeah, so this came about pretty quickly. Zach left Rage Against the Machine, citing a breakdown in the decision-making process, whatever that means. I never really felt like that band was really going to stay together. I mean, there's just too much anger in the music for them. You knew some of that had to bleed over, right? So, but the band, the other 3 guys, Tim Comerford, Brad Wilk, and Tom Morello, did plan on continuing on and look for a new singer. Several vocalists jammed with them. Be Real from Cypress Hill, who was one, who later joined them in Prophets of Rage also. Lane Staley was rumored to have auditioned, but he did not, according to Tom Morello, like in 2015 later on. He's like, no, that didn't happen. But they didn't want to go with another rap singer, which is why Be Real from Cypress Hill didn't get the gig. And again, like that Prophets of Rage stuff, like with him and Chuck D from Public Enemy, like that was awesome. Like I got to see that in a small venue in 2016, and it was just amazing to see. It was so good. So those guys just fit right in with Rage Against the Machine. So they just didn't want to do that. So they wanted to do something different, and they were working with Rick Rubin, who co-produced Renegades, the Renegades cover album for Rage, and he suggested that they talk to Chris Cornell, since Soundgarden had broken up since 1997. Rick Rubin kind of felt like with the right vocalist, they could be an even better band than they were with Rage Against the Machine. Kind of like, I think he said something like the Yardbirds, like turning into Zeppelin, or like they felt like, and I'm like, I don't think it went to that level, but he felt like they could be an even better band with the right singer. So Tom Morello said, and I had to write all this in here because it just sounded so cool, and I'd never really read this before. Tom Morello said that Chris stepped to the mic and sang the song, and I couldn't believe it. It didn't just sound good. It didn't just sound great. It sounded transcendent. And when there's an irreplaceable chemistry from the first moment, like, you can't deny it. They wrote 21 songs in 19 days of rehearsals, and the band was born just like that. And it sounds like it almost didn't get off the ground, which I didn't know either, according to the band, Chris did leave before the album even came out and before they even played a show live, but that he left for a short time, but it was triggered by the managers quarreling. So Chris brought in his manager from the Soundgarden days, and Rage was working with their manager. And of course, those two, trying to divvy up money because they knew this was going to be huge, couldn't get along. So what they did was they reformed after the mixing was finished. So he was gone about 6 weeks from what I could tell. And when the mixing was done 6 weeks later, they got together, they fired both of their managers, and they went with a new management group and then continued on. So Renegades came out in 2000, and this was in
end of 2000.
End of 2000.
December, yeah.
2001 that they got with Chris Cornell, and by the end of 2022 they had an album coming out with Audioslave. So in less than 2 years, which is faster than any Rage album came out, they were able to turn around with a different singer and write a bunch of great songs and put them on the first Audioslave album, which is also self-titled. So November 18th 2022, 14 songs on here. They really crammed them all in here. This is Rick Rubin producing. And I wrote in here, and you had mentioned this earlier. I don't know if it was before the podcast or not, but how crazy is it that Rage Against the Machine swapped one member, the singer, and actually maybe even got better? Like many would
Yeah.
say that they did, and they sound like so. It's the same but completely different. It's hard to even describe. Like
Yeah.
this is kind of more straight ahead rock.
Yep.
It even feels like modernized kind of classic rock at times. And although it does have that Rage Against the Machine funk kind of highlighted here and there, like Set It Off, for example, sounds and feels like a Rage Against the Machine track, just with different vocals. Like that song could easily fit on any Rage album with Zach doing vocals, but it sounds different because it has that same groove and funk to it, but it sounds completely different because Chris Cornell's singing, who's just one of
Show
the
Me How to Live
iconic
too. That
singers.
riff
Yeah.
on Show Me How to Live. It to me, it's Rage. Like
Yeah.
a lot of times it doesn't sound like them, but that is like it's so funky.
Yeah, I think so. More so on this album, and I'll kind of talk about that as the albums go here. But I think more so on this album, this feels like to me, this was more kind of like leftover Rage songs. Not all of them, but more so
Yeah.
than the other two albums. Less Chris Cornell influenced. Like I think that he came in, he wrote lyrics because he wrote all the lyrics for all three of these albums, and he sang lyrics, but I think he was singing over like probably half to more than half like old Rage songs that they just hadn't recorded and
Yeah.
had written as a 3-piece basically for a project, but they were still writing in the same way. Where on the next two albums, I feel like Chris Cornell, who's a great songwriter in his own right, had a lot more influence, and the songs kind of change, I think, as we'll get through this. But
Yeah.
Chris Cornell, as we've mentioned a few times on our podcast, without even doing Soundgarden yet, but which is crazy, has
Yeah.
just an iconic voice that's unmistakable. I mean, the guy's got to be great. If we've talked about him multiple times, we haven't even done his band.
Right.
So, I mean, his vocals have such feel, and he has such range as a vocalist. Like What You Are to Like a Stone back to back on this album shows exactly what I was talking about, that range between aggressive and like kind of beautifully quiet. Like, do yourself a favor. Like I found this like maybe 2 or 3 months ago, and I think I found it on social media somewhere. Somebody posted it, but it's Like a Stone, but it's just an isolated Chris Cornell vocal. I mean, it'll damn near bring you to tears, man. It's so incredibly good and beautiful. Like it's amazing. Do yourself a favor. Try to go find yourself an isolated vocal of Like a Stone. It's just absolutely incredible. It'll make the hair stand up in your arms. It's absolutely amazing. The song's great in itself, but him just solo, just singing it is it's something else, man.
Yeah.
I Am the Highway was a huge single for them. I wasn't as high on that song in particular. I mean, it's good, but it's not great to me on this one. I just kind of felt like it's kind of a weird outlier that it has, I think, the second most plays on this album on Spotify, and I was just like, I don't know, I'm really not getting it with this song. But anyway, I wouldn't skip it. Like, again, it's not bad. It's just it's weird that I was like, wow, that one's got that many plays. But anyway, this is another one where it just kind of like what I said. It's almost a repeat of Battle of Los Angeles. The first 7 songs on this album are absolutely incredible. Absolutely. Cochise, Show Me How to Live, Gasoline, What You Are, Like a Stone, Set It Off, and Shadow on the Sun, all the way up to High on the Highway, are just incredible songs. Absolutely incredible. And again, it's like Rage Against the Machine, but with this singer that like just opened up the heavens almost. It's like this totally different thing. And you're like, wow, like I can't believe this is this good. It just doesn't seem like it should work, but it's amazing. So, but there's no skippers on here for me. This one this is number 1 out of the Audioslave catalog for me, and it's pretty easy. A-. This is a really good album. Most of the deep cuts are good in addition to the hits. It's a little long, which drags it down a little near the end for me. There's a couple of lulls, and 2 to 3 too many songs keep it from being truly great. They should have what I think they should have done is reserve maybe the last 3 tracks for an expanded edition or a bonus track album or bonus tracks and put them on an expanded edition, because I don't think any of those 3 songs are anywhere near the greatness that the first like 7 are on this album. And just don't make it an hour and 5 minutes long, like it's a little too long. And again, those songs, I'm not skipping them. They're not terrible, but save them for like an expanded edition. I don't know, but different rules of different thoughts by different producers. Some were like, hey, let's fit every track we can. Let's give the fans all their money's worth. They're paying whatever the studio. Let's fit as many tracks we can on there, and it's just. I don't know. Like, to me, it's kind of better if it's a little shorter and use really the very best songs and not just load it up. Although I do appreciate that they're trying to give you your money's worth, though, if that's what they're doing. I totally appreciate that, but I don't know. So anyway, I have this A- number 1. What did you think of self-titled Audioslave?
Yeah, I think probably they thought this is probably going to be it for them. If I had to guess, because. Yeah. I mean, again, you're talking about a volatile group of guys anyway.
Yeah. I mean, didn't think it was going to blow up as big as it did, too. Who knows?
Well, yeah, maybe. Or maybe they just didn't intend that it was going to be something that went on.
Like an experiment. And they're like,
yeah. I mean, you never know. Yeah. Again, there's been a lot of these like super group type things that they get together for an album and that's it, right? Then they go back. Maybe all of them were hoping that Rage would get back together at some point.
Maybe a Soundgarden reunion comes
right
after 5
and Soundgarden did get back together.
Yeah.
Not
Rage
that
did too, right? At the end of this run.
At the end of it, yep. So that's it. Again, they kind of probably knew, probably more than anybody else did, but I agree with you. I think that this is a great album that is way too long. That's all the notes that I have. I like a lot of the songs off here, and I even like some of the later on tracks, but I do believe that there's too much here, and I think that it is very top heavy with the quote unquote like legendary songs, like you said, those first 8. I do like "I Am the Highway."
Yeah,
it's a Chris
Cornell else apparently.
it's a Chris Cornell like it's one of those where the music doesn't make it anything special, but I think Chris makes it something super special to me. Yeah,
he does almost everything.
Yeah, it's just a Chris Cornell thing. When he sings, he sings to your soul, and you can feel the pain, and the dude is just legendary. So I love "I Am the Highway." It just listening to his voice, like everything else, just kind of fades away, but just him like crooning the chorus of that song is great. But everything before that, Cochise, I'll never forget. Before I really even knew what was happening, that video got released, and it shows him like taking an elevator up to the top of this structure, and Chris is going up, and the band is already up there, like waiting for him to play, and he goes and takes the mic, and then fireworks start going off when the guitar starts.
So fitting, right?
It is. It sounds
like what Tom was describing when he first started to sing with him. That's exactly what it was. That's
it's wild, but I'll never. Yeah, check out that video. It just kind of
put it together. I'm sure I saw it, but I just never really put together. Of course, I didn't know about that story until just this week.
Yeah,
so that's funny.
Show Me How to Live. It's copy and paste Rage, but instead of like you could picture Zach's rap coming in after that. You can picture it, but instead of that, here comes Chris's vocals.
He's not singing that soaring "Show Me How."
No,
Zach ain't doing that, man.
Zach is not doing that.
That's to me what separates that song from Rage is like
that.
Of course, amazing. I'm like, wow, dude.
Yep. Gasoline, What You Are. I mean, Like a Stone it's probably their moment, I think, of if you could pick one moment to go back to Audioslave, I feel like a Stone is that song. And you got a classic Morello solo in there where he's like, it's incredible. Set It Off, Shadow on the Sun is great. Again, I Am the Highway. Light My Way is another Chris moment for me where the dude is just crooning his ass off. It's unreal. Easily my favorite Audioslave album, just like you said. It's not even close. It's legendary. I got one coming up here of theirs that I was kind of taken by surprise with. I didn't really give it a chance that I really liked, but this is number 1. I would probably say B+. I think it's too long. I think you cut 3-4 songs off of here, you got an A album. But I think right now there's just enough that it drags a little bit too much. But there's like 7, 8 amazing songs on here. So I really love this album. I got it when it first came out, and I still come back to it because the songs are really, really legendary. So Audioslave self-titled album, number 1, B+ for me.
Yeah, this one, like, I wasn't even sure it would work. Like, for me, like you said, you got it right when it came out. Like, not me. Like, I had to wait. Like, because I was like, okay, so at this point, we have internet, and I knew Rage had broken up. And I'm like, okay, really? Chris Cornell? Now, I'm a fan of Chris Cornell's vocals. I'm not necessarily a huge fan of Soundgarden in general, but I'm a real big fan of Chris Cornell's vocal talent. Like, I like a lot of his solo stuff later on, too. Like, he's really, really good. But I was like, I don't know, man. The Rage guys doing Chris Cornell, like, I couldn't see it. Like, I couldn't think of how this was going to work, Yeah. And then I heard, Cochise, like you said, and then I'm like, okay, this is pretty good. Is the rest of it this good? And then I heard, I'm like, okay, it is. It's really good. Like, I just wasn't a believer. I didn't think it was going to work.
Yeah.
So I wasn't on board with it right away. But anyway, on to they release albums way faster here. So that was in 2002, November 18th. The next one, May 23rd, 2005. So we're at 2.5 years instead of 3.5 years. Out of Exile came out. This was Rick Rubin and the band. Kind of more of the same of the first album, but just mellower. For me, the songs aren't as good in total. Kind of like for me, Evil Empire. But this was, I think, for different reasons. There are some great ones here for sure, but in total, it doesn't hold up even close to the first album. In some cases, like, songs kind of sound like reworked riffs or a little bit similar to songs from the previous album. And that's kind of splitting hairs, really. But, I mean, the same guys are writing the song. So, of course, some songs are going to sound familiar. But it's just this one has a mellower feel. And I feel like this is, due, and it's a result of Chris Cornell probably being more involved in the songwriting, like we were saying. Like, I think that the Rage guys had Rage songs written, a bunch of them, and Chris sang over those. Where on this one, they had more time to sit as a band and actually write music together. So I think, and what Chris Cornell does and what he writes, some absolutely outstanding, like, mellower, like, rock songs. So it kind of makes sense. Although I feel like the two, to me, on this one, don't mesh together very well. Like, you'll have a really mellow song, and then Tom will come in with this solo, and you're like, what the, like, where did that come from? Like, the solo is really cool, but it doesn't fit with the vibe of the rest of the song. It just kind of staggers you, and you're like, what was that? And that happens a couple times on this album. And I just think it's them trying to kind of find their way together, I think, at this point. So, but the first one where you said he came up in the elevator and the stuff started exploding and going, that didn't happen on this one. This one was much mellower. This one, I think, took place on the first level of that building, and they were all just kind of in there,
like a lounge,
right? Like a lounge, yeah, exactly, with like traffic going by,
smoking cigarettes with a cocktail.
Exactly, it's exactly what it seems like. So, but again, it's good. This is one where the more popular songs are the first four. And for me, I think the song The Worm is probably better than all of those songs for me. So there is some decent stuff in there, and I do like the first four, but I like The Worm better. I also like Number 10, which is later on. So doesn't remind me. Be Yourself is pretty good. Doesn't Remind Me is probably my favorite of the first four, and then I like The Worm and Number 10 near the end. But there's no skippers. It's just not a lot of the rest of these songs just don't stand out for me. Like on the first album, they're not these iconic songs. So I had this kind of as a C+. This is number 3, which tells you which one surprised me, and it's not this one. So this one I have is kind of like middle of the road C+. Nothing really kind of stands out other than Tom's solos, of course. And, a couple tracks I really like, and the rest are mostly just okay, whatever, other than the solos. So, but nothing truly skippable here, though, either. It's fine. I just let it play, but I wasn't as enthralled or as enthusiastic about this one. What did you think of Out of Exile?
Yeah, the weird thing to me is you think of Chris Cornell as the one you bring in to mellow things out, but like I like you were saying, you weren't huge Soundgarden. Like I was huge Soundgarden fan.
Okay.
Like I absolutely love them, and I would only put ahead of them in that era. The band that we're going to be doing next week would probably be the only band I would put ahead of Soundgarden. Little tease if you know the
I like them. There's songs by them I absolutely love. Like I could listen to Black Hole Sun like on repeat.
Yeah.
And that, I mean, people are worn out on that one, not me, dude. It's an amazing song. But it's just like Spoon Man, and like they started doing some weird stuff. I like the earlier, heavier, more metal-ish stuff from them. And when they got popular, I was just kind of like, I mean, other than a few songs, like I said, I love Chris's voice. It's just, we'll get into Soundgarden next time.
Yeah. But the point is it's funny that we're saying that the first album felt like it was coming right off of Rage, and it's kind of like the Rage adjacent, right? And then this one, it's more the speed of Chris Cornell. But to me, it's just it's funny to me thinking back to like Rusty Cage and like Jesus Christ Pose and stuff. Yes. I mean, that stuff was aggressive, and but here we are at this point. Chris in his career, he's I guess ready to chill out. This one, it just didn't seem to mesh as well. Trying to find that common ground, the pendulum, like of Rage, and if you listen to Chris's solo stuff around that time, it was definitely more mellow. It was not Soundgarden. Which kind of like led me to believe, okay, maybe it was the other Soundgarden guys that were more pushing him to be a little bit more rock and things like that. Yeah. So
he was writing the Black Hole Sun songs, and those guys were like, man, why can't we get back to Rusty Cage?
Exactly. Right. So there's a lot of good stuff still on this album, but it definitely it's not what I want to listen to. I feel like the first one was kind of hitting me like in the rock feels, and this one it's just kind of like, all right, let's push it back up a notch. And I feel like Tom Morello really is the only one that really is giving it like almost like cutting loose on it, where he's the only one that at times is like, all right, like I want to still be rock, and it feels like everybody else is like, I'm cool, let's just chill.
That's why it's so jarring when it gets to the solos.
It is. It is.
Whoa, where did that come from?
I know. So I'm with you. Your Time Has Come is really, really good. I like the riff on that one. The title track, Out of Exile, Be Yourself, is great. Of course, Chris kills that. Doesn't Remind Me is cool. The one that I really like is the very last song, The Curse. Okay. To me is the one that kind of hits me in the feels. I think it's an excellent closer. Again, all credit goes to that one for Cornell and his voice to me. Kind of like I Am the Highway. It's like you take Chris, you put somebody else in that singing it. It's not the same. It's just not going to do it. But there's a lot of dead weight kind of in the middle of it. The Worm is pretty good. You mentioned that one.
Yeah, I was just shocked at how much I liked that one.
Yeah, it's got good stuff.
I heard it. Yeah, and I'm like, wow, I really like this song all of a sudden. Where was this at?
Yeah, but it sounds like we're going to land on the same place with this with the third one. It kind of I was listening to it again today. But we'll get to it here in a second.
Yes.
But yeah, Out of Exile for me, easily number 3. I don't want to say it sounds like they mailed this one in, but I don't hear quite the drive of the first one, where like they were like, man, we got this great thing, this new thing, and we're gonna run with it. This one just kind of felt like how lazy. I don't want to say lazy, but it just sounds more not rock. To me, a lot of it just sounds way too mellow for me. So I think we're kind of in the same spot with this. I had it like a B-, C+, number 3, easy for me. So
all right, on to Revelations, and this is like 16 months, like just a little over a year until this one came out. Not even like 15 months. 12 songs on this one. Brendan O'Brien produced this one. We got him back again. Again, I think Chris Cornell is a bigger part of the songwriting, but I feel like it kind of came together a little bit more on this one. Not as much of the all of a sudden Tom solos hitting you from left field. Although he still does some great ones on here. Yeah. It seems to fit more with what the song's doing. So that was more the mellower stuff. There is some on here too. Like this album isn't all great, but it just kind of a little bit less of it. It was more prevalent on the second album with the mellower stuff. I like the songs on this one a little more, or a lot more in some cases, than the second one. Probably about half of these songs, they found some groove between the mellower stuff and the heavier, like rage type stuff on the first album. Some of the funky slow grooves on a bunch of songs here that works better on some songs than others, but I really do kind of like it. Like, it's like Tom mellowed out what he was doing and still wrote these cool funky guitar riffs, but kind of mellowed them just slightly, kind of met them halfway, it seemed like,
Yeah.
So like he couldn't really do it. It wasn't fitting on the second album, but he had all these great ones on the first album. So on this one, he just kind of met him in the middle, and it just works so much better, I think. So, and admittedly, I didn't give this album much of a chance after the second one, really. But it came out so fast. Like, I was complaining about waiting too long for stuff I really loved. But on this one, I'm like, that second album, I was kind of out on pretty early when it first came out. And then I was like, this one came out, and I'm like, well, it's just going to be just like the last one. So I didn't really give it much of a chance. But as I listened to it a couple times this time around, I found some songs really growing on me a bit here. I'm going to revisit this album more in the future for sure. It really is better than I gave it credit for. I have a bunch of favorites on here. Revelations, Sound of a Gun, Original Fire I really like, Broken City, Shape of Things to Come I like, which is later on, and Moth as a closer. Like, this is Brendan O'Brien. They had 11 songs basically written and recorded. And Brendan O'Brien's like, I want you guys to come up with one more song for this album to put on here. I don't know why he felt they had one more in them or whatever, but they wrote and recorded the song Moth the next day. And it's maybe the best song on the album. It's fantastic. Such a cool lyric, where I won't fly around your fire anymore. Like, oh man, it's so cool. But there's no skippers on this one. Like, I liked way more of this than I really thought I would. And I listened to it twice. I'm like, did I really? And the second time, I liked it even more than the first time. So I'm like, I wasn't sure. I'm like, do I really like this much? But, I really did. And it doesn't challenge the first one. It doesn't have those kind of highs. But this one has a lot more good songs on it than I really thought it did. So no skippers. I had this as a solid B, maybe even a B plus. If I listen to this one more time, this might be a B plus even. It might even be getting close to A territory if I listen to this one or two more times. It wasn't as boring as the second one got to be for me, and I really found it to grow on me just after a couple listens. Man, really solid. Maybe it's just time in my life. Maybe these songs mean more to me. They hit me different now. I don't know, but man, I really like this a lot more than I thought I would. So B plus, number 2. What did you think of Revelations?
Yeah, we're solidly together. We were different for Rage. We're very much the same for
We're
Audioslave.
nail this one 1 to 3. Unlike
I
Rage,
know.
we're all over this
Yep.
one.
Yeah, it's so I'm the same thing as you. Like, I was not, and plus I knew, like, I kind of after the fact, right, where Chris Cornell was done. Like, this was it for him. He left the band, I think, months.
07, yeah. It wasn't long after this.
It was pretty close after. He didn't want to tour for this album. They did all their touring for their first 2 albums. Never toured again after it. So, he was done. So I guess maybe kind of expected that they would have mailed this one in. So I really didn't listen to it. Same as you. So I had heard a few songs off of this. The title track, Original Fire, I think were the 2 singles off of here, which I've heard those before.
But even those weren't huge. They weren't played all the time everywhere,
Right. But yeah, I put this on. Sunday morning, I told you I'd finished it.
That's right.
I had finished listening, and then I listened to it Sunday, and it really caught my ear. I was like, man, this is really, really good. And then today I listened to it while I was cooking dinner. I threw it on, and man, I was grooving. Man, it's just good stuff.
It is.
It makes sense now that I'm listening to it. It's like, all right, well, this is the sweet spot, right? Where the first one was probably more Rage, and the second one was probably more Chris, and this one it feels like they melded it perfectly. And again, I think the highs are better on the first one, like, no doubt about it. The songs, I think, are just more legendary to me. It's hard to, when you have that amount of songs that are just really, really great songs.
I feel like the magic was there. Like, they almost didn't even have to work for it. It just was boom, an explosion like the video. It's just magic. Where this one, they had to work to get here. You know,
Yep.
makes me also wish that like in 2008, 2009 they put out one more, because I really feel like with what they did on this one, they could have just crushed one more album. You know, but
yeah, I totally agree. But again, pleasant surprise. This is one of those. I think we ran into it with, you know, Deep Purple, or you know, you find one of those albums, you're just like, man, I missed this. Man, that sucks.
So true.
So this was one of those where, you know, I for a few today was like, man, is it better than that first one? And I was like, it's not. Yeah. It's not better than the first one, but man, it is damn close. And I
would talk myself into it too.
Yeah, but I mean, I love Revelations, man. That song it rips. That's a great song. One and the Same is good. Sound of a Gun. Original Fire, again, it to me, I feel like I heard that in a movie soundtrack or something like that.
I think so
really
too.
good.
That was the one that really kind of it stuck with me, like off of this album before, and I'm like, this is the only one I really still recognize for whatever reason. But yeah, some of these deeper ones, even like, you know, Jewel of the Summertime, like the first time through, I'm like, I don't know if I like that one. The second time through, I'm like, I almost added it to my favorites, but I couldn't have like 8 favorite songs on here, right? So I'm like, I don't know. I still like it though. It's good.
Well, it's very bass driven. The Jewel of the Summertime. Yeah. It's very in that it takes me back to a Tim Comerfield like old, like again, it's real funky. Like One and the Same, super funky. It's really good stuff.
Get enough credit for being a really good bass player.
Yeah, for sure.
Nobody ever talks about that dude being just a great musician.
Yeah.
He's fantastic. He's so good.
Until We Fall, I think is a great ballad. Again, Chris, man, his voice, man, it sucks that we lost him, man. Just kind of like we said. It's kind of we said with Chester, but I don't know, like something about when Chris died, man. It was hard, man. It was really hard. You called it with Moth too. It's just like a perfect closer. It's really good. Nothing left to say but goodbye, man. Tearjerker, man. I mean, my God.
Yeah.
But no, this is a great album, and I agree. I will easily come back to this. Easy number 2. I put it as a B just because I wanted it to be under the first one, but it's probably in a different way. It's probably just as good as that first one. It's just, to me, it's more mature. It's more of a band, I think, in this album than it was before. Everybody just sounded like they were on the same page.
Yeah, I agree. I think with enough listens, this would approach the first one for me too. Like, I've heard those songs so many times off of the first one. Like, if I had heard these songs that many times, I think this one would be right up there.
Oh, for sure. I'm with you.
You know, I'm like, man, why didn't I give this more of a chance back then?
Yep.
Yeah, and Moth, like, it got to the end. Like, I listened to this album again. Like I said, you know, this is the last one I did. And then I got to the end of Moth, and Moth ended. I'm like, Moth, like, that was done already? So, and I went back and I just played that song again because it's so good.
Yeah, it is.
It's great stuff. Can't believe they wrote it in a day, man. It just speaks to their level. Like, how many bands in the world ever could, like, write a song in one day because the producer wanted them to? Not gave them an idea. Hey, I got this little thing. Maybe try to turn it. No, he's just like, we need one more song. They're like, oh, all right, let's throw something together. And it ends up being that good. It's got a killer riff on it. It's got a great chorus, like the great line in there by Cornell. And they did it in one day just because we did throw another song on here. Oh man, crazy. All right, overall, number 3 for me, Out of Exile. Not even close. Easily the third one. 2, Revelations, and climbing. Revelations with a bullet, climbing up the charts. Yeah. And number 1, the self-titled, still has the best songs on it. But man, I really wish they had.
Look out!
4th one now. I know. Look out below.
I know. Yeah, just ditto for me. Same thing. 3 Out of Exile, 2 Revelations, 1 is the self-titled. But yeah, not one the same for Rage, and all the same for Audioslave. That's
so funny.
It's very funny. So yeah, good idea, partner. I don't remember who came up with it. Maybe it's me or you, whatever.
I think we both did, really. Because we talked about it, and then we're like, well, you know, we could throw Audioslave. I don't know who first threw that out, but we just we're like, all right, well, 3 and 3, and all they changed was 1 member. So
what was interesting to me is that Audioslave has significantly more listens on Spotify, monthly listeners, than Rage Against the Machine, which I would never. 15 million to like 10 million.
Okay, that's what I thought. I remember looking at it, but I couldn't remember which order was which, honestly. So
Yep.
I knew one had 15, the other had 10. I'm like, either way, we're going to reach some people, hopefully, if people see this one. So
Yeah, no, we couldn't have done these bands alone just because they don't have a lot of albums, but
Right.
together, it just
Worked
made
perfect.
perfect sense.
Yep.
Yeah.
It really did. So there you
All
have
right.
it. The letter Z, the last episode of season 2.
Yep.
On with who we've already hinted at earlier. If you were listening, Brian, since I bet nobody else is listening, Mr. Swag Dubs there. He could probably guess who we're going to do next week for the letter A. But yeah, we'll be back next week with the letter A in season 3.
Yeah, season 3, we made it to the 3rd season. Very
Now,
impressive.
July is going to be rough.
Well, we're just going to have to find, the next couple months, again, it's concert season, and me working security for a couple places. It's going to be crazy, but we're going to try to squeeze in some episodes here on Tuesday, the next couple Tuesday nights, and then once July hits, it's a free for all. We may do it on a Wednesday or a Monday or whenever we got time. So
whenever we got time and we have enough, like we've listened to everything enough of a catalog, we can do one. We're going to just fit it in. So who knows? But we'll be around. It just won't be on Tuesdays at a regular time. It'll just be whenever we can, I guess. So
yes,
but that's
sir.
okay because it's summertime. So
that's right. A lot of people got stuff to do. We got stuff to do. We will try to keep cranking out episodes and listening to more music. So
it's not like we're appointment viewing anyway. So
right, exactly. So we'll let you know how Coheed and Cambria is tomorrow night.
Yes,
and,
we will. We will definitely have a review of that next week also.
Yep. But other than that, I think that's it. Anything else, H?
That is it, sir.
All right.
As always.
Well, thank you, Swag Dubs, for joining us as always. And if you're listening now afterwards,
Camelot music, rest in peace.
Yep. Yeah, I miss my Camelot music. That was great. If you guys are listening to this later on, I know we do see listens. We don't just have 2 listens every podcast. There are sometimes 30, 40, 50. Yeah, like leave a comment, say hello, say what ones you like. Let us know. Always curious to see what albums maybe you like that we didn't, or vice versa. I like to hear what you like about other stuff, some songs that you think are great. Maybe I needed to give it a second listen, or I'm always willing to do that. So, leave a comment if you can. We'd like to hear from you.
We'll do tomorrow night.
Yep. Agorath. All right, partner. Well, we appreciate everybody listening, and we will see everybody in the next one.
Rock on.
Looks like you've been missing a lot of work lately.
I wouldn't say I've been missing it, Bob.
What would you say you do here?
God damn it. Bob, we love playing here tonight. My brother's ready.
It helps if you think of it as a game, Bob. Every game has a winner and a loser.
You must possess strength to inflict pain, Bob.